Welcome to Timberland Farms. This is part 2 of this log splitter build series. Hopefully this will be finalized by the end of this video. In the last video you saw we were working on this outfeed table. Off camera we cut these slide tables, the little ramps that the wood goes down. I'm not sure if you can see, but hopefully you remember. So we cut those. Now we can lift this table grade off, one person. And just like that, that guy's removable. So what we did is we took these two wings on both sides, cut off 2 inches, and now it fits in there perfect. Alright, so we had some technical difficulties. I lost audio and had to change microphones. So now this table is removable, and after we work on the table, I went and got a trailer receiver hitch that you can weld onto your receiver or whatnot. That's going to weld on the underside of this I-beam. So we're going to move the hitch from that side to this side and flip the axle around so it's facing the correct orientation to be pulled this direction. A lot of the weight bias is now heavily towards this way. It was always pretty well balanced right on the axle, but we're going to move it this way because it just keeps getting heavier and heavier on this end. So in order to tow it down the road easily and without having the tail wag the dog, we're going to have to tow it from this end. We're also going to try fabbing up a log lift today. And then I also want to put in some lights on this thing to be working at night. So we'll stick a light tower up with a couple off-road lights that are shining in this direction here, so then we can see what we're doing in the dark, because it gets dark at like 4 o'clock around here in the winter time. So gives us some little extra hours of business when we're splitting wood. So I went to the wood yard, grabbed a couple rounds of wood. We're going to test this thing before we burn this into place. All of these grates are tacked into place, as well as these wings that help guide the wood onto the outfeed table. So we're going to see how all that wood flows through here, because I want the wood to split and naturally fall into place and not get jammed up anywhere. And if there's going to be an issue, I want to address it now before everything's rock solid in place and you have to cut a mile of welds apart to change it. Now's the time to do it. So without further ado, we'll fire this thing up and see what it does. All right, let's fire this bad boy up. Got the jump pack hooked up to it because I don't have a battery for it just yet. Why'd I hit the kill switch off? guide ramp thing. This got bent, broke our tack weld there. This is why I wanted to test it out now. We lost one of our little sheets here. Well, we're using a wood stove for unintended purposes, cooking some Timberland farms bacon. This will be exciting. All right, so we got these little wings here. These are fully welded in place, and I nipped the corners and used the corners as gussets underneath. And then we also took the outfeed table off and fully welded that. That's ready to go, put back on here. We got some pieces of C-channel here we found in a scrap pile. Might be able to use them for on inside the frame here, and we'll use those as pivot blocks for our hydraulic lift table. This is the base for our hydraulic lift table. It's going to sit on the ground down here and raise up at an angle. But those are going to be connected to those C-channels with the drop-down arms. Next step we got to do is pull the axle out and flip it around. We took the hitch off the front of it, and we got a receiver on the back side here. So that will slide in. That'll slide in right there. Now we got our hitch on the other side. I don't know if you pan that over here. You can turn the knob too, but it needs to point down. Okay. So this is our trailer hitch. Put a pin in right here, and then you can tow it from this side. And when you're splitting wood, you can shove it all the way in. If you don't have a GoPro in the way. But yeah, this goes all the way in and locks into this pin here, and it's up out of the way. But we'll pull that out of the way for now, because now it's time to pull that axle out. So I got the whole axle disconnected, and hopefully we can roll that out the back and slide it out.
You would need to slide it out? I would just roll it out of the way a little bit.
Yeah, we roll it out of the way, and probably slide it out your side. Now we got ourselves a barbell. So now we need to go under there and cut our leaf spring shackles. So this is the leaf spring here. These are the shackles on the back side. So I noticed that the leaf spring was broken. So I'm going to attempt to weld this back in place. Cut a V-groove on both sides for the weld to sit in. Try staying away from, these are toasty. Try staying away from where the bolt goes in. We have a sacrificial bolt in there that's going to take the weld. We're going to preheat this with a MAP gas torch and post-heat this. We might stick this in the wood stove and let this cool down slowly, because this is spring steel, it's hardened. We want to maintain that hardness. We don't want this to crack in the future, so I'm going to treat it as if it's cast iron. So let's get to it. So what we're doing right now is preheating most of it. We're going to want the heaviest bias of heat towards where we're going to weld and fade out the temperature difference towards the end. But right now we're working on heating the whole thing, and then we'll slowly focus in on the center part and get that really, really warm. Now we can focus in on the center part. We're reading about 400 degrees, but that's with the torch there, so we're getting pretty close. The warmer the better, I'm assuming. We don't want obviously 1200 degrees, and that's almost melting point of steel. We're going to run like that, and as soon as I'm done welding it, he's going to go back in and heat it. Go ahead. Try to give her some heat. wanted to scab on some spacers because we had issues with the tires rubbing the bottom of the trailer deck. So an 1.5 inch spacers should give us plenty of room. Welded those solid onto these leaf spring hangers. We couldn't salvage the old ones. Cutting them off is going to be a big mess. So we just scabbed these guys on there real quick. Getting used to the weld on this machine. Getting back to what I used to know. No professional welder, but it's a farmer weld if I've ever seen one. Not shabby for a farmer. And it is toasty even through these gloves. So we just pulled this leaf spring back out of the wood stove. We just set that on top, let it cool down. Now we're reading 320 degrees Fahrenheit. It was reading Celsius before, so yeah, it was much hotter than what we originally thought it was. So, yep.
Hold on. You're gonna have to explain to me what you're doing because I don't get it. Woo!
A little better. Alright, I can take you guys a walk around what we got so far. We got the tongue over on this side. We moved the axle, flipped that around, got new leaf springs, new leaf spring mounts on here. Took the hitch off this side, took the jack off this side. So once we're done, get this all situated and get this flipped around, we're going to cut this 3-inch C-channel A-frame out of here. That's no longer going to be there. We can use that scrap steel for something else. If we look underneath, we got a spacer and a new hanger. And now we have plenty of room between the tire and the bottom of the trailer deck. And now we can start working on our log lift and our jack placement. So this is our trailer jack here. I wanted to securely mount that right on this I-beam here, but as you can see, this is a top wind. So when we go to wind this, we're going to end up hitting our hand against the main frame of the I-beam here. So we're going to have to address that. I can't put it on this square tube. I thought about that, but if I get to a wood pile and I want to remove the hitch, well, I can't because it's not supported anymore once I take that hitch off with the jack mounted on it. So we're going to have to mount it on the I-beam somewhere. So we're going to have to make some sort of leg that sticks out for that jack to work, which will be beneficial anyway because we're going to have the log lift sticking off this side, and that's going to be putting a lot of pressure on this side of the I-beam frame. So we can help counteract some of that with a jack on the side. So this right here is the long side of our log lift table. This end here will connect to the I-beam right here. So that's where the I-beam goes, and then our base plate goes down here on the bottom side. So I measured out the center here. This side is going to be off just a little bit until I get this tacked into place. I want to make sure I get this square, and I'm measuring from this corner and this corner, so make sure this is square. I can trim these later on if they're off. I don't want to have to recut the angles on the bottom side here where it's going to contact the ground. I should have them in place pretty close, so we're going to burn that in and see what we got. I'm going to adjust the welder here. I think it's set for 1/4 inch, and it is. So we're going to run this at 3/16. That's about 375 inches per minute at 19.5 volts. So that should give us enough amps to burn that in good without burning through. So when you're welding, it's going to pull the direction on the side that you're welding on. So this is going to want to rotate this direction because I'm applying heat there, and it wants to contract as it's cooling down. So we want to check our square, make sure we're still square, and we are. And now I can add some tack welds down here. And hopefully it didn't weld it to the table. No, I'm good. So now we repeat that process on the other side. Very difficult for me to see where I'm at the moment. Hopefully that echo wasn't too terrible with my mask down. Make sure this is all good and proper before burning this in. Gotta get this so it has proper alignment going up and down it in the full travel. So this section up here is where it's going to connect to the log splitter. Right here we got our sheet steel. So this is going to set like that onto the ground. I am going to nip the corners here and get this to tuck in, so then I can weld halfway onto. I can weld on the center of this square tube as well as on the center of this without any overhang. So I'll nip those corners to tuck around these square tubes right here. And it goes just about edge to edge, side by side. And then we have another sheet to go along the back side here. I'll have to add a cross member in the center, right along here, to help support this sheet metal. We'll probably just use 1 inch by 1 inch square tube as well as cross member here and up at the top. So here we got the log lift arm. We mocked this up, tacked it in place. This is about where it's going to sit. We'll run a bar going from here to the bottom of this I-beam just to hold it in place till we get our hydraulics. But we ran into a snag. We're probably going to push it off until tomorrow. But that's probably as far as we're going to get in this video. But it is functional. It's nice and smooth. The pivot's really nice on here. But I'll bring the camera in closer and show you what's actually going on. But you might notice a little bit different. We turned this whole entire project around, I tell you. The log splitter is facing the other way because the hedge was over here. And we moved it on that side, which now it's over here. No, yeah, we spun the whole thing around. And now we can cut the back of the old hitch off the back, which used to be the front. So we're going to do that. We're going to finish this guy up. Table grate still goes right here. You take it off for transport, and you put it on when you're in the wood yard, and you take the hitch off when you're in the wood yard. I use dichrometers on that one, so the hitch is not quite not straight because I use my ichrometers. But yeah, I'll take you into this this thing here. So this is with the log lift all the way up. So when you're on the other side and you want to roll rounds over to you and then push them and then use this as a workstation table. Our push block, the brackets that keep that push block on the I-beam are going in to interfere, especially when it's up a little higher. So to mitigate this, we're going to have to lower this guy. So we're going to cut these tack welds off. Cut it about 1.5 inches off the bottom of both these brackets and lower that down. That'll make it a little more difficult to roll the log up there because now there'll be a ledge here, 1.5 inches difference. But going up 1.5 inches is a lot better than picking it up the 3 feet off the ground that this is. So that's where we are with that. So if you made it this far into the video, I'd like to thank you. If you could give this video a thumbs up, that would do tremendous help for us. If you could share this video to other people that you think might enjoy this video. Next video we'll have a working functionality test series of this. Hopefully we'll have this out in the wood yard. I'm sure we will. We got some small piddly stuff we have to address, like obviously that log lift. We're going to fully weld that out. I don't want to bore you with that. We have to lower those mounts, so we got to figure that one out. We had the outfeed table, that's all sorted out. We do have a battery to install on this, as well as new air filter. And then I'm also going to put a couple off-road lights on this that run off the battery, so we can work in the dark with this a little bit nicer than the current splitter. So thanks for watching. Please like, up, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. But if you want to help the channel out even more immensely, you can go to our website at www.timberlandfarmsny.com. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can pick out some of your merchandise. We have sweatshirts, t-shirts, and hoodies, and hats, and apparently a fart. We got some giggling help over there